Bombshell tonight. We learned the FBI is probing 11 U.S. space scientists either dead or missing. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
The White House and FBI are investigating a string of suspicious deaths and disappearances of at least 11 U.S. scientists, many of whom are involved in classified aerospace, nuclear, and defense research.
Joining us tonight, Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack. Dave Mack, what more can you tell us?
Nancy, we have two more names of scientists, military insiders who are now missing or dead. Two more to add to that list. These are some of the most amazing things we've seen yet. First of all, Matthew Sullivan, a 39-year-old former U.S. Air Force intelligence officer, and a 29-year-old NASA nuclear scientist, Joshua LeBlanc. Matthew Sullivan was scheduled to testify in a whistleblower hearing that was taking place on Capitol Hill. Think about it. A hearing for whistleblowers about UFOs and UFO intelligence within the military. And before he had a chance to testify at that whistleblower hearing, Matthew Sullivan, dead. The circumstances of his death are being questioned by many close to him, but he's gone. NASA nuclear engineer, 29-year-old Joshua LeBlanc, Huntsville, Alabama. Like many of those who have gone missing, Joshua LeBlanc, at 29 years old, was reported missing around 4:30 in the morning. He left his wallet, keys, phone, stuff like that at home, but he was gone, and his family couldn't find him. He didn't show up for work. They were concerned. All day long, Huntsville police were looking for Joshua LeBlanc. This nuclear scientist who was working on nuclear propulsion for NASA was missing all day. 2:45 that afternoon, a fiery crash involving Joshua LeBlanc's Tesla. The crash was so bad, he hit a guardrail, crashed into some trees. His body, not even identifiable for 3 days. When they finally got into the investigation, they were able to go into the Tesla Sentry mode and found out his vehicle, this Tesla, was parked at the Huntsville airport for 4 hours the morning he was reported missing. Just 4 hours. And then later on, dead. So two more odd to explain deaths in the mystery surrounding the scientists that have gone missing or dead recently.
Deep research into anti-gravity jet propulsion, into special alloys made for high-intensity heat, an alloy called Mondelez, and so much more. Ideas and theories that most of us have never imagined that under their skill and expertise were actually coming true until they go missing or are found dead. 11 that we know of. Many of them I've been able to connect, 1, 2, 3, 4, to McCaslin, General Neil McCaslin, who oversaw funding and research, who was seeing over, commanding an entire Air Force base, but also was in charge of funding and overseeing research into many of these projects, joining us, an all-star panel, to make sense of what we are learning tonight. I want to go straight out to special guest joining us, Chris Malore, Deputy Science Editor for Daily Mail. What is happening? Many people thought that this was fantastical, but it's not. And now the FBI has joined the probe, and I would like to add, in stark departure from normal FBI tactics, which we saw out in the Nancy Guthrie case. Remember, the FBI did not enter into the investigation until they were invited by Sheriff Nanos, who took his sweet time doing it and screwed up the investigation. Here, they have jumped in feet first into the disappearance of General McCaslin, which opens up an entire can of worms into the other 10 scientists, and that's 10 that we know of, Chris Malore.
What if Some of America's brightest scientists didn't just disappear, but were silenced. A former intelligence officer dies before testifying. A NASA-linked engineer vanishes after a fiery crash. Another scientist sends messages saying she would never harm herself, then suddenly turns up dead. Coincidence? Or something far darker hiding behind classified programs, secret technology, and government silence? Tonight, we uncover the chilling mystery surrounding multiple aerospace, nuclear, and defense experts whose deaths still raise disturbing questions years later. And trust me, the deeper this story goes, the more terrifying it becomes. Before we begin, comment below where you're watching from right now. And if you enjoy deep crime investigations and hidden mysteries like this, hit subscribe, because this channel is only getting started. Now let's get into it. Part 1. The deaths that started the questions. The story begins with whispers. Not online conspiracy theories, not random rumors, but real names, real people, and real investigations connected to some of the most sensitive scientific programs in America. Many of these individuals reportedly worked around advanced aerospace research, defense projects, nuclear systems, or intelligence operations. Then, one by one, they were gone. One of the most talked about names was Matthew Sullivan, a former Air Force intelligence officer reportedly connected to discussions involving UFO and UAP intelligence. According to reports discussed by investigators and media panels, Sullivan was expected to testify in relation to sensitive information before his sudden death shocked those around him. People immediately began asking dangerous questions. What did he know? Who else knew it? And was his death really just a coincidence? But that was only the beginning. Then came the mysterious case of Joshua LeBlanc, a young NASA-linked nuclear engineer whose disappearance sent investigators into confusion. His vehicle was reportedly discovered after a fiery crash, yet Joshua himself was nowhere to be found. No clear answers, no confirmed explanation. Just another brilliant mind suddenly erased from public view. As fear spread through online communities and investigative circles, another disturbing case exploded into public attention. Scientist Amy Eskridge. Friends claimed Amy had sent messages insisting she was not suicidal and had no intention of hurting herself. Yet not long afterward, she was found dead from what authorities described as a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That single detail ignited massive controversy online. Supporters and independent investigators questioned the official narrative almost immediately. Why would someone warn friends beforehand? Was she scared? Did she believe something was about to happen to her? And perhaps the strangest part of all, several of these cases seemed connected by one terrifying pattern: advanced research, classified technology, and sudden unexplained deaths. By now, internet investigators, former officials, and journalists were beginning to notice similarities too impossible to ignore. But according to some experts, the truth behind these deaths may connect to something even bigger than murder. Something involving secret technology, microwave weapons, and hidden government projects the public was never supposed to know about. And in Part 2, we uncover the disturbing allegations surrounding directed energy weapons, and why some believe certain scientists became targets after what they discovered. Subscribe now so you don't miss the next part, because this story only gets darker from here. Part 2. The weapon no one was supposed to talk about. The deeper investigators looked into these mysterious deaths, the stranger the story became. Because this was no longer just about missing scientists. Now the conversation was shifting towards something far more disturbing: secret weapons. During discussions surrounding these cases, some researchers and former insiders began mentioning allegations involving directed energy technology, systems capable of targeting people using concentrated microwave or electromagnetic energy. At first, many dismissed the claims as impossible, but then disturbing reports started resurfacing. Government officials around the world had already investigated incidents linked to unexplained neurological symptoms suffered by intelligence personnel and diplomats. Victims described sudden pressure in the head, ringing ears, migraines, dizziness, and cognitive problems after strange energy-like sensations. And that's when online investigators started connecting dots. Several of the scientists tied to these mysterious cases were reportedly involved in advanced aerospace research, propulsion systems, defense technology, or sensitive military contracts. Could some of them have crossed paths with projects they were never meant to expose? One name repeatedly mentioned in discussions was Amy Eskridge. Supporters claimed she had become increasingly worried before her death. Online communities analyzing her case pointed to statements and messages where she reportedly denied being suicidal. That detail alone fueled massive speculation. People began asking, was she under pressure? Was she afraid? Or was the timing simply another coincidence in a growing list of suspicious events? Then investigators revisited another chilling detail connected to multiple disappearances: personal belongings left behind. Phones, wallets, identification cards. In some cases, it appeared as though people vanished suddenly, almost as if they never planned to disappear at all. And then came the whispers about advanced aircraft projects. Terms like anti-gravity propulsion, experimental alloys, and mysterious black budget programs started flooding online forums and investigative discussions. Some claim the scientists who died may have worked close to technologies decades ahead of public knowledge. Others believe the theories were spiraling out of control. But one thing nobody could deny: the number of strange coincidences kept growing. Then another shocking detail surfaced. According to discussions featured in investigative panels, even federal agencies reportedly showed unusual interest in some of these cases, especially disappearances tied to defense-linked researchers. That raised even more questions. Why were certain cases attracting so much attention? What information were investigators trying to protect? And why did families of some victims reportedly hesitate to speak publicly? Fear, that's the word that kept appearing over and over again. Fear of retaliation, fear of surveillance, fear of saying the wrong thing. And for many watching these stories unfold online, no longer felt like isolated tragedies. It felt connected. In Part 3, we dive into the alleged cover-ups, the missing evidence, and the terrifying theory that some of these scientists may have discovered technology capable of changing the world forever. Before you go, comment your theory below. Do you think these were coincidences or something bigger? And if you're enjoying this investigation, subscribe now, because Part 3 gets even more disturbing. Part 3, the cover-up theory. By the time the third wave of discussions hit the internet, people were no longer asking whether the deaths were strange. Now they were asking something much darker. Was somebody trying to keep certain discoveries buried forever? Because the more investigators examined the timelines, the more unusual details appeared. Several of the scientists linked to these stories reportedly worked around highly sensitive programs involving aerospace engineering, nuclear research, military systems, or advanced propulsion concepts. And according to online investigators, many of those projects shared one thing in common: secrecy. Not normal secrecy, the kind protected by national security clearances, restricted facilities, and information the public may never fully see. Then came the theory that changed everything. Some researchers claimed a hidden battle may exist behind the scenes, a race involving technologies capable of reshaping modern warfare forever. Experimental aircraft, unusual propulsion systems, energy-based weapons, and rumors of reverse-engineer technology allegedly connected to unexplained aerial phenomena. Whether true or not, those claims exploded across investigative communities. Was the pattern surrounding the deaths themselves? One scientist dies suddenly. Another disappears. Another reportedly warns friends they are afraid. Another leaves behind unanswered questions. And somehow, the cases never seemed to fully close in the minds of the public. Then, internet investigators began focusing on General William Neal McCasland, a retired Air Force official whose name became heavily discussed because of his connection to advanced research funding and military technology programs. When his disappearance became part of online conversations, speculation intensified overnight. Some believed he may have known secrets tied to classified aerospace projects. Others argued there was no proof connecting the cases at all. But by then, public suspicion had already spread worldwide. YouTube channels, forums, podcasts, and independent investigators all started pulling at the same thread. What if these deaths weren't random? Then came another disturbing claim. Some families and researchers allegedly feared speaking openly because of harassment, surveillance concerns, or pressure connected to sensitive information. Whether those fears were justified or not, they added another layer of mystery to an already terrifying story. And then there's the biggest question of all. If these scientists truly were working on revolutionary discoveries, what exactly were they close to uncovering? Technology beyond modern aviation? Advanced military systems? Or something even more shocking, hidden behind decades of classified research? Right now, nobody outside restricted government programs can say for certain. But what keeps this mystery alive is the fact that so many questions still remain unanswered. No matter what people believe, these were real individuals with real lives, real careers, and real families left searching for clarity. And until every question is answered, the speculation will never stop. Comment below. Do you believe there's a real cover-up behind these deaths? Or has the internet connected unrelated tragedies into one giant mystery? And subscribe now for more deep investigations, hidden stories, and cases the internet refuses to forget. Part 4. The Files, the Fear, and the Questions That Won't Die. Long after the headlines faded, the mystery never disappeared. Because online investigators kept uncovering fragments, interviews, archived discussions, old reports, and scattered statements that only made the story feel even more unsettling. Some believed the deaths and disappearances pointed toward a hidden world operating far beyond public view. Others warned that internet speculation was turning tragedy into conspiracy. But either way, people could not stop digging. As researchers revisited the cases, one chilling pattern kept resurfacing. Many of the individuals allegedly worked close to highly classified environments. Defense labs, aerospace facilities, government contractors, advanced research programs, places where information is tightly controlled and where silence is often part of the job. That's when rumors of black projects began dominating online discussions. Programs so secret that even their budgets allegedly remain hidden from the public. Projects involving experimental aircraft, propulsion systems, surveillance technology, and energy research far beyond what ordinary citizens ever hear about. Then came one of the most disturbing theories yet. Some investigators claim certain scientists may have tried to speak out, either directly or indirectly, before their deaths. Not public whistleblowing, but private warnings to friends, coworkers, or family members. Messages expressing fear, stress, paranoia, or concern about sensitive information. And while none of that proves foul play, it was enough to keep suspicion alive, especially in Amy Eskridge's case, where online discussions exploded after reports that she had denied wanting to harm herself before her death. For many viewers following the story, that detail became impossible to ignore. Then there were the disappearances, phones left behind, cars abandoned, personal belongings untouched. It created the image of people who vanished suddenly, without planning, without explanation, and without closure. As the theory spread, another fear started growing online. What if some of these technologies were considered too dangerous for the public to know about? Not just weapons, but breakthroughs capable of shifting global power overnight. Imagine technology that changes aviation forever. Energy systems beyond modern understanding. Military capabilities decades ahead of anything publicly acknowledged. If discoveries like that existed, who would control them? And how far would powerful organizations go to protect them? That question is exactly why this mystery still grips the internet today. Because even skeptics admit something about these stories feels deeply unsettling. Too many unanswered questions, too many strange details, too many people gone. And perhaps the scariest part of all, if there really was a cover-up, the public may never see the full truth. Files can disappear. Witnesses can stay silent. Evidence can remain classified for decades. But mysteries like this never truly die. They survive in archived interviews, forgotten reports, records for assaying, and the questions people refuse to stop asking. So now I want your opinion. Do you think these cases reveal something hidden beneath the surface of national security? Or do you believe the internet created a conspiracy out of coincidence? Comment your thoughts below. And subscribe now. because the next investigation may be even more chilling than this one. Part 5: The Theory That Changed Everything. By now, the story had spread far beyond crime communities. What started as discussions about unexplained deaths had transformed into something much larger. A global obsession involving classified technology, hidden programs, and the possibility that the public only sees a fraction of what truly happens behind closed doors. And then came the theory that terrified people the most. What if these scientists weren't just connected by their deaths, but by what they knew? Online investigators began revisiting reports tied to advanced aerospace research and alleged black-budget programs hidden deep inside military contracting systems. Programs few people can access. Projects protected by layers of secrecy. Operations so compartmentalized that even government officials may only see small pieces of the full picture. Some researchers claimed these scientists may have worked around experimental propulsion concepts, advanced materials, or defense technologies years ahead of public understanding. Others believed there was never enough evidence to support those claims. But the speculation exploded after discussions surrounding unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, because suddenly people started asking a dangerous question. If governments truly recovered or studied unusual technology, who would be trusted to work on it? Scientists, engineers, defense researchers. Exactly the kind of people appearing in these mysterious stories. Then internet forums uncovered another disturbing pattern. Names connected to the cases reportedly shared links, direct or indirect, to sensitive institutions like aerospace labs, military contractors, nuclear programs, or intelligence-related research. To some people, that was coincidence. To others, it looked like a trail, and the deeper people searched, the darker the theories became. Some claimed there were efforts to suppress revolutionary breakthroughs capable of disrupting global industries overnight. Imagine energy systems that could replace existing power structures. Aircraft capable of impossible maneuvers. Technology that could change warfare forever. If discoveries like that existed, entire governments and corporations would have reasons to keep them hidden. At least that's what theorists believed. But even without the speculation, one reality remains undeniable. Real people lost their lives. Families were left grieving. Questions remained unanswered. And public curiosity only grew stronger with time. Then came perhaps the most chilling possibility of all. Maybe the truth isn't fully hidden. Maybe it's buried under layers of confusion. Conflicting reports, missing information, half-released information, public fear, online exaggeration, a perfect environment where nobody can tell where facts end and theories begin. And that may be why this mystery continues to survive year after year, because people are still searching for certainty, still trying to connect the dots, still wondering whether these deaths reveal a hidden world the public was never meant to see. So now the question comes to you. Do you believe there's truly something secret behind these cases, or do you think people are seeing patterns where none exist? Comment your thoughts below, and if you've watched all 5 parts, subscribe now, because this channel is diving deeper into mysteries, crime investigations, and stories that mainstream headlines often leave behind. For years, mysterious deaths involving scientists, engineers, and defense-linked researchers have fueled intense speculation across the internet. Some reportedly worked around aerospace projects, nuclear systems, advanced military research, or classified technology programs. Then suddenly, several of them died under strange or controversial circumstances, leaving behind unanswered questions that still haunt investigators today. One case involved a former intelligence-linked figure expected to discuss sensitive information before his sudden death shocked online communities. Another involved a NASA-connected engineer whose disappearance after a fiery vehicle crash raised disturbing questions. Then came scientist Amy Eskridge, whose case exploded online after reports claimed she told people she was not suicidal before being found dead. As discussions spread, investigators and internet researchers began noticing what they believed were patterns. Classified programs, advanced technology, and unexplained deaths tied to highly secretive environments. Soon, theories involving black-budget projects, directed energy weapons, experimental propulsion systems, and hidden aerospace research flooded forums and investigative channels worldwide. Some believed these scientists may have discovered revolutionary technologies capable of changing aviation, energy, or warfare forever. Technologies powerful organizations would allegedly do anything to protect. Others strongly argued there was never enough evidence connecting the cases, warning that internet speculation was turning tragedy into conspiracy. But despite the debates, the mystery never disappeared, because too many questions still remain unanswered. Why did some victims reportedly express fear before their deaths? Why were certain cases surrounded by secrecy? And why do so many people connected to sensitive research continue appearing in stories filled with mystery and controversy? Maybe the truth is being hidden, or maybe the internet connected unrelated tragedies into one giant theory. Either way, these stories continue to fascinate millions because they sit at the terrifying intersection of science, secrecy, power, and fear. Comment below. Do you believe there's a real cover-up behind these deaths, or just coincidence? And don't forget to subscribe for more deep investigations, chilling mysteries, and stories the internet refuses to forget.